Hello everyone, and thanks that you could make it. It's the season of harvesting and profitability of salts across subsidiaries of the National Oil Company. What led to this largely is transparency, accountability, and performance excellence, which had been in practice at the NNPC for some time now. IDSL's gains are indeed phenomenal, with 4,842.80%. So it is also with the Nigerian Pipeline Storage Company, NPSC, and the NNPC Retail Limited. All the three of them are sharing some of their challenges leading up to these success stories. You should find all the details very interesting when we come back. Welcome to the program. My name is Akin Agbejule. This is Oil and Gas Forum.
We are very appreciative of the GMD NNPC, who work very hard under the able leadership of the Honorable Minister of State Petroleum Resources, my brother, His Excellency Timipre Silva, for making this a reality.
Let's take responsibility to stop the spread of the virus. Wash your hands frequently with soap under running water for about 20 seconds. Or use a hand sanitizer where water and soap are not available. Cough or sneeze into a tissue and dispose properly. Or cough or sneeze into your elbow.
Avoid large gatherings. Keep physical contact to no less than 2 meters. And wear a mask whenever you are in a public space.
Clean all surfaces frequently with disinfectant. And if you develop symptoms like frequent cough, sneezing, fever, or shortage of breath, call your state emergency number or NCDC's toll-free number on 0800 9700 0010. Take responsibility. Do it for yourself and the rest of us. This message is brought to you by the NCDC and funded by the NNPC IPPG team, an association of indigenous oil and gas producing companies.
In line with the philosophy of performance excellence by the management of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, the Geology and Geophysical arm of the corporation, the Integrated Data Services Limited (IDSL), has recorded an impressive financial performance by growing its profit from 154 million naira in 2018 to 7.61 billion naira in 2019, representing a whopping 4,842.86% growth. This was disclosed by the chairman of the board of IDSL and chief operating officer, NNPC Ventures Directorate, Engineer Adeyemi Adetunji, during the 24th annual general meeting of the company. Addressing shareholders and stakeholders at the AGM, which held virtually, Engineer Adeyemi said despite the harsh operating environment, the company was able to record unprecedented revenue growth.
I hereby move that the director's reports and balance sheet as at 31st December 2019, together with the profit or loss account for the year ended 31st December 2019, submitted to the meeting, be received and adopted.
In his address, the managing director of IDSL, Engineer Ayebateke Bariwei, said the company would continue to leverage on the GMD STAPE transparency, accountability, and performance excellence agenda for effective exploration of the nation's hydrocarbon resources.
To provide for basic at the beginning, seismic data acquisition, seismic data processing, reservoir engineering, data storage, and data management.
The Nigerian Pipeline and Storage Company, NPSC, a midstream subsidiary of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, has generated 49.01 billion naira in its 2019 financial year, representing a 10.4% increase over its 2018 fiscal report. NNPC Chief Operating Officer Corporate Services, who doubles as chairman of the NPSC board, Mr. Mohammed A. Ahmed, disclosed this at the second annual general meeting AGM of the company, which held virtually at the NNPC Towers. Breaking down the company's performance, the chairman of the NPSC board said the company recorded a cumulative earning of 49.01 billion naira with operating profit of 16.043 billion naira.
Going forward, we should expect to see an NPSC that is governed basically on commercial terms. An NPSC that must be very, very careful on its bottom line. Whatever we do, we have to ensure that we see green instead of red. Is it the transportation, or is it the storage, or is it pipeline maintenance? So we will strive as much as we can to ensure that we put in commercial sense in all our endeavors.
Remarking on the company's performance, the Group Managing Director of NNPC, Malam Mele Kyari, who was represented by the NNPC Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Umar Ajia, commended the uncommon level of dedication and commitment of the staff of the company, noting that the company was steadily rising up to meet its mandate.
NPSC is a very viable company that is sitting on a very large asset portfolio of over 5,000 kilometers of pipelines and 22 depots. So any company with such type of massive asset base should be a profitable entity. If not for the pipeline vandalism, this company would have been one of the golden eggs for the group. Notwithstanding those challenges, they have tremendously worked hard to move from a loss position of 2.4 billion in the first year to a position of only 1.3 billion in 2019.
On her part, the Managing Director NPSC, Mrs. Ada Neka Oyetunde, said the company has established a high-level task team that was continually assessing and monitoring development with a view to nipping all circumstantial challenges in the bud.
Behind screams and tears of pain in some communities, there is a terrible act of pipeline vandalism which causes fire outbreak and takes innocent lives. Pipeline vandalism also pollutes our waters and the fish we eat. Please join us to save lives and stop this crime. Warn or report those who vandalize our pipelines. The law will deal with them. NNPC, we touch your lives in many positive ways.
The NNPC Retail Limited, a downstream subsidiary of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation NNPC, says it plans to improve on its current financial position by expanding its network of outlets across the country. This was disclosed by the chairman of the company's board of directors and NNPC Chief Operating Officer, Gas and Power, Engineer Yusuf Usman, at the 7th annual general meeting of the company, which held virtually in Abuja. Engineer Usman said the company will expand its network of retail outlets through new builds, leases, and affiliations. He listed other measures aimed at enhancing the company's profit, to include the foray into the lubricant business and listing of more sites for non-fuel revenue businesses, NFL, consolidation of liquefied petroleum gas LPG sales in line with the NNPC Group's policy, and reduction of products costs through diversified product supply sourcing.
A total of 527 stations were in operations at the end of 2019. That's 37 mega, 4 standard, 3 ultra mega, 11 floating, 11 leased, and 461 affiliate stations. The entire network in 2019 comprised of 90% third-party stations and 10% NNPC retail-owned station. The owned station and leased stations, however, accounted for 31% of retail sales within the year.
He added that during the period, 1.18 billion liters of white products were sold across all channels of the company's operations, which include retail stations, floating stations, and industrial sales. In her remarks, the managing director of NNPC Retail Limited, Mrs. Elizabeth Aliuda, said the company increased its network in 2019 to 527 stations made up of 37 mega, 11 floating, 11 leased, 4 standard, 3 ultra mega, and 461 affiliate stations.
37 mega stations, 4 standard stations, 18 leased stations, 3 ultra modern stations, and 12 floating mega stations.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, has disclosed that it would adopt the private-public partnership model in developing the recently recovered 92 hectares of land in Lekki, Lagos State. Speaking at the 1st to 10th annual general meeting of the NNPC Properties Limited, NPL, the chairman of the company's board, Mr. Umar Ajia, who was represented by the corporation's Chief Operating Officer, Ventures and Business Development, Engineer Adeyemi Adetunji, said that it was necessary to involve private developers due to the capital-intensive nature of the project. Mr. Ajia stated that efforts were ongoing to collaborate with state governments across the country on land allocation for project development, noting that the company in the coming year would focus on other projects that would guarantee a win-win situation for all parties involved. In their remarks, the managing director of the NNPC Properties Limited, Mrs. Charo Waziri, said she was determined to drive the new NPL along the line of commercial viability.
A pleasant evening and welcome to another feedback segment of the program. My name is Julia Auta. Liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, otherwise known as cooking gas, is cleaner, faster and cheaper means of preparing meals. Our Robin Lenz went to town to find out from Nigerians what measures should be put in place to encourage more people to embrace the use of cooking gas.
And I'm even appealing to government to advise a rural people, the village people, to use gas. It's more economized.
The public enlightenment aspect of it is key, so for the public to know. Actually, most times people don't know because of ignorance. And if we embark on a mass enlightenment campaign, I'm sure the impact will be felt.
They should let people know more about it and bring down the price. Maybe that will make people want to use it more, in my own opinion. Because as far as the layman is concerned, they still prefer stove, kerosene stove, to gas. And when you tell them, if this is cheaper, they'll look at you like the gas is just meant for the rich, which is not.
The government can invest on enlightening the people, educating them, creating awareness on the safety of the use of gas, on the affordability, on the environmental friendliness of the economy.
And if government can encourage and make cylinders available, that would also be very nice. Then there are some cities and countries where these gases are piped to homes, so that as you're building, the gas is piped to your house. So that they can even deploy some of these cooking gas, some of these cylinders to the village, while those in the city will have gas piped to their homes.
True, the cooking gas is cheaper, cleaner and faster means of cooking meals. And that's it on this segment. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to this segment of the program. My name is Tola Bobuade. Did you know that oil is created from the decomposition of organic materials under intense heat and pressure over millions of years? Did you know that a major study informed that about 80% of all oil spills are caused by human error? Did you also know that diesel fuel produces about 11% more than an equal volume of gasoline and actually produces slightly less carbon dioxide emissions? Did you know that most of the oil found in the ocean has oozed naturally from the ocean floor? Did you also know that products like fertilizers, plastics, tires, ammonia, perfumes, and even bubble gums are synthesized using petroleum products obtained during the crude oil refining process? Now you know. Please stay tuned for the rest of the program.
The Nigerian Petroleum Development Company Limited, NPDC, an upstream subsidiary of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, was established in 1988 to operate petroleum exploration and production business. Thus, the company became the first indigenous oil and gas company in Nigeria. NPDC core services include exploration, drilling, development and production. The company engages in oil and gas activities in the hydrocarbon-rich region of coastal Nigeria, onshore, offshore and in the swamp. Our operations are concentrated in 6 states, namely Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Delta, Edo, Imo and Rivers. NPDC's vision is to be Nigeria's leading exploration and production company with significant global presence. Mission: NPDC is an oil and gas company operating responsibly, delivering value to stakeholders and applying the best industry practices and technologies. NPDC is involved in 33 concessions, 26 oil mining leases, and 7 oil prospecting licenses. 100% ownership of 9 blocks, oil mining leases 11, 13, 64, 65, 66, 98, 111, 116, and 119. 55% equity in 8 blocks, oil mining leases 4, 26, 30, 34, 38, 40, 41 and 42. 60% equity in 5 blocks, oil mining leases 24, 60, 61, 62 and 63. Varied interest in 7 deep water concessions. Non-equity operations in 4 blocks in selected NNPC joint venture fields. We are currently the 5th largest producer of crude oil in Nigeria, the 2nd single largest producer of gas in Nigeria, the owner and operator of the 7th largest floating production, storage and offloading vessel in Nigeria, FPSO Mistras, with 1.03 million barrels of crude oil capacity. The growth witnessed by NPDC over the last few years is a testimony of the rising pedigree of local operators in the upstream sector of the Nigerian economy. And this is not unconnected to the federal government's support and confidence in the ability of Nigerians to compete in the sector where foreigners used to have an almost complete dominance. Taking advantage of the divestment by IOCs, NPDC leveraged the opportunities to transform from a small player with a production of 60,000 barrels of oil per day in 2007 to a major player with a current production of over 200,000 barrels of oil per day through the acquisition of equity in the divested blocks. We are not just adding value, but we are actively involved in the value chain creation of the oil and gas industry.
Hello and welcome to Global Crude Oil Outlook. Oil prices rose on the back of a weaker dollar, but gains were capped by concerns about rising United States oil inventories and a persistent surge in the new coronavirus cases. Brent crude rose 35 cents or 0.8% to $44.64 per barrel, while United States West Texas Intermediate WTI crude gained 32 cents or 0.8% to $42.22 per barrel. The United States dollar index against a basket of currencies was trading near its lowest since early March. A weaker dollar usually spurs buying of dollar-priced commodities as they become cheaper for holders of other currencies. Daily reports of the Market Intelligence Department of the NNPC's London office indicate that oil futures settled almost flat as bearish inventory data and profit-taking gave way to a late session recovery. According to the report, data from the Energy Information Administration (EIA) shows commercial crude stocks in the world's largest economy rose 4.9 million barrels to 536.6 million barrels in the week ended July 17 against the backdrop of higher supply and lower refinery throughputs. The year-on-year overhang is a whopping 91.5 million barrels. There was a more direct impact to the petroleum complex from persistently high coronavirus caseloads in the US as well. However, higher export volumes may not be enough to offset domestic demand woes. Refiners processed just 14.2 million barrels per day of crude for the week, even as upstream players boosted production by roughly 100,000 barrels per day. And that's it on this segment of the program. I am Owigo Okolo.
We will equally appreciate the GMD for driving the process and ensuring that this project kick off at this moment. And we can only pray to them that God continues to give them wisdom and the wherewithal to ensure that we complete the project.
That's how the stories have been on this edition of Oil and Gas Forum. I hope you found it very informative. Takeaway as far as we're concerned, new dividends are coming with the new normal at NNPC operation. Transparency, accountability, and performance excellence. Expect more in the coming days. Have a good week ahead.